Our new book, Ashy Men Will Make You Fat, is available now for pre-order. Check out BurbNBougieShop.com. And now for your next very informative and or wonderful video. I have two videos that I'm about to play. Very important because it is speaking to how the blinders are coming off of women. We have social media these days that is telling the truth. People are able to write their own narratives. They jump in the comments and tell everything that is going on. So there is no misconceptions of what some marriages look like. There is all kind of literature. You can get on your Google machine and it will tell you that women are out here overwhelmingly doing the majority of the housework. And that has got to change. Parents of right now, start teaching your boys how to cook and clean and be responsible humans and pay attention to what is going on in the house that they're living in. Because women are saying, get someone else to do it. Women of right now are simply tired of having to mom an adult male. And it is coming out in social media. It is coming out. So parents of right now, if you do not teach your male child how to cook and clean, women are saying, no, we're not going for this anymore. We know that you can use a broom. We know that you're not incompetent. Because if you can go to work, if you can learn how to do things on YouTube that have to do with a car or a new sport or a new video game, you certainly are able to do some chores in the household. So you guys go ahead, watch the next two videos that I have compiled, and then let me know what you think.
Hey, can you wash the potatoes on the counter?
Yeah. Hey, this palm olive is good to wash the potatoes, right?
Oh my gosh, Brandon, you're supposed to use water, not soap. You just go in there and sit down and I'll take care of this.
Weaponized incompetence. Trying to call this comedy is making light of an issue that is serious. There is a stress gap between men and women. Compared to men, women are twice as likely to suffer from severe stress and anxiety. Married women do more housework than married men. When men and women marry each other, even if there are no kids in the picture, women do more housework than their partners, on average. Yes, even when they make the same as or more than their male partners. The only time you see that average shift is when women are the sole providers. And it's like this much, this much, he does a little bit more. Men have more free time than their wives. Even among teenagers, boys are spending more time on leisure than girls. Why isn't weaponized incompetence funny? Because it's oppressive. Because failing to do a good job on purpose makes you seem unreliable. Failing to do a good job on purpose is opting in to breaking their trust. It's setting up a situation without their consent to demand their time and energy. Your failure to put in a good faith effort leaves them no other choice but to overcompensate for you. When you use weaponized incompetence, you put your needs and interests above theirs. You remove their autonomy and choice. You take their time and energy and access to opportunities without their consent. Not funny. Men have more free time than their wives. Even among teenagers, boys are spending more time on leisure than girls. Why isn't weaponized incompetence funny? Because it's oppressive. Because failing to do a good job on purpose makes you seem unreliable.
Weaponized incompetence is going to leave a lot of males of right now single. And the push for women to get married and have babies is losing steam because of social media. Social media has women showing what weaponized incompetence is and how these adult males are acting once they get into relationships with women. So these are some of the comments that was on a weaponized incompetence video. Grass says, the way my brother constantly got out of putting the dishes away because he didn't know where the dishes went in the house that he lived his entire life. And then the comment below says, I had an ex take pictures on what it's supposed to look like because he would just put things wherever. It was exhausting. Imagine how exhausting it is to have to mother an adult human male that's not your child. And then John comes in onto the post. Okay, what's his full-time job and what's hers? If he's out on an oil rig or another extremely physical job for 12 hours, I don't want to hear it. And then Laura says, should he be manipulative or should he communicate? And then John says, you could pose the same question to her. Why is it that these men think that other men are out here all on oil rigs or doing something dangerous in 2023? And what does that have to do with not knowing how to wash a potato or use the washer and dryer completely free of mistakes, because they make it so easy to like push a button or just wash stuff in the sink? So this person, Philly Mama, is responding to John Lynn. So she says, my ex worked an office job 9 to 5. I took care of the kids' dog's house. His parents mowed lawn, cleared snow, raked leaves. I don't want to hear it. As if taking care of children and running a household is not extremely physical. And John says, it is very so, but I promise the level at which some jobs demand physically is incomprehensible for people. All I'm saying is that it's not one size fits all. Men stay on code. They stay defending bad behavior, even if there is no defending people being incompetent on purpose. There's no defending them. This woman says that her husband ruined a load of her work clothes on purpose. I made him buy a new wardrobe for me, plus all the laundry. Why do men go this far just to simply be out of doing chores in a place where you live? This is why women are saying, get someone else to do it, or want to live separate from their partners. Y'all jump in. And then you have the men that will joke about being married as if women are very much just balls and chains and nags. And at this particular point, I believe that this reverse psychology is not working. Women see the gag in it, so men can stop playing this game as if they don't benefit from marriage. So watch this next kid's video, and then I will come back on the back end.
I don't understand when people get married and then like right after they're married, they just complain about being married. Newlywed couples, if you're like a year into your marriage and you're like, being married is really hard, then I don't think you should have gotten married. I don't think marriage should be that hard right out the gate. When I lived in New York, I lived across the street from this like young couple. They lived in a brownstone, really nice apartment. One night, the husband came up to me and he was chatting with me. I forget what we were talking about, but his wife walked up. She was gorgeous. She looked like a model, to be honest. He's like, oh, this is my wife. He introduced each other. And then she was like, all right, babe, like, I'm going to go inside. Like, he's like, all right, I'm going to stay out here and talk to this Malcolm kid. He was talking to me. The minute she walked in, he was like, bro, don't get married. I was like, oh, okay. Like, how long you guys been married? He was like, 6 months, bro. Worst decision ever. Like, when you're just telling basically strangers that you're unhappy, that's a good sign that you're unhappy. Like, you must have known. Like, you literally a couple months ago weren't married to her. Now you're married and it's all downhill. Like, that early, that soon, you're already unhappy? I don't know.
Social media has done wonders for pulling back the curtain like Wizard of Oz. It's done wonders because forever men have had the opportunity to create the narrative, because for the most part they were the ones that were in charge of writing the scripts, the movies, the books, or whatever, and they always had, you know, women vying for marriage as if it's the end all be all. There was legislation that made it so that women had to depend on men for money and survival. And once women were able to not necessarily depend on men, but to depend on their own for financial independence, then women had the opportunity to choose. Sometimes I think that the men are not living in 2023 because they don't seem to see that women can actually work for their money these days. But it is not a chore for a man to be married because women are literally doing all of the chores on average. You guys go ahead, jump in the comments, tell me what you think.